and Studs! Speed champions and LEGO car fans, it is always a great day when a new lineup of Speed Champion cars drops for our building pleasure. This is Brews and Studs, and today we are going to be building and reviewing the, spoiler alert, superb Lamborghini Countach. This set was released on March 1st, 2022 and goes for $19.99. There are a total of 262 pieces in this set. It'll take you anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes to build this set, depending on how motivated you are to finish this build. Believe you me, I took my sweet time building this set. The build techniques were varied and engaging, and at no point in time did I think that any part of the build was repetitive or boring. From the inception of Speed Champions, the LEGO designers have improved year after year, and this year's sets may arguably be the best one yet. The build is rather formulaic and has not changed from when the Speed Champions cars expanded in width. This expansion increased the price from $14.99 to $19.99, and trust me, the extra $5 is well worth the money spent. I had also mentioned that the ratios and proportions looked off in the cars in the past. However, I think the genius designers got it right. So anyways, you always begin the build by putting together the driver. Then in bag 1, you build the back of the car, and then in bag 2, you finish building the front of the car. The Countach is no different and does not stray from this pattern. I'll also have to say I'm glad that with these later iterations of Speed Champions, that LEGO has done away with the goofy little cones and various track knickknacks that used to come with the old Speed Champions cars. They have put their entire focus on the car itself, and it absolutely shows. For me, the build really gets interesting when you are building the mechanism to represent the upper rear quarter panels of the car. That mechanism allows the car to have the proper angles in the back. After that, the designers also came up with a way to get the proper angles on the lower rear part of the car. In fact, I will have to say that they got the angles perfectly, which I don't think I've ever said on a Speed Champions build. Another thing that impressed me was that LEGO actually pre-printed the LEGO wheels for the Countach, which I am glad that they did because there were no LEGO pieces in existence that could properly represent the iconic wheel with the 5 holes surrounding the hub. I was genuinely shocked when they did not use stickers to represent this piece. Speaking of stickers, mercifully, there were only 13 of them that you have to apply to the car. I think that we are used to at least 20 plus stickers per Speed Champion set, so we may be at an all-time near low with this car. The last thing that really impressed me was that the designers decided to use real LEGO pieces to represent the lights of the car. In the past, we all know that they copped out and used stickers, which I never really was a fan of, so the designers have definitely improved. It is at this point that I will segue into talking about the real Countach. I mean, this car was the poster supercar of the mid-70s to the 80s. What petrolhead and teenager did not have wet dreams about this legendary car as they were staring up at a poster of this lithe sex machine? Let's talk about power and torques. You know, the real numbers that gets the blood rushing to the brain and the primal, brain for us males. By today's standards, the numbers that the car puts up is paltry. However, back in the day, it was a technological marvel. At launch in 1974, this car boasted roughly 375 horsepower at 268 foot-pounds of torque, which is a decent amount to this day, but really isn't enough to melt your face as you rip around a corner. The car could do a top speed of 170 miles per hour with a 0 to 60 of 5.6 seconds. However, at the end of the Countach's life in 1988, culminating with the anniversary edition, the car was putting down a whopping 455 horsepower at 369 foot-pounds of torque, which can really get the heart pumping with life and excitement. The top speed of that car was around 185 miles an hour, depending on who you talk to, and could do a 0 to 60 in an impressive 4.9 seconds, which is enough time for your heart to skip a few beats. The cost of owning one of these pretty machines back in the day, depending on the year, was around $120,000 in the early to mid-80s, which is still a large sum of money. Back in 2019, before all the craziness that had occurred with the pandemic and whatnot, you could find one for maybe about $200,000. But nowadays, if you're wanting to drive your childhood hero, prices are well into the $500,000 range and up, depending on the mileage and the condition of the car. And you know what they say about meeting your hero sometimes. Overall, there's absolutely no negative that I can say about this set. It is a perfectly executed set, and the designers captured the form and the lines of the real Countach perfectly. Again, I do not believe that I've ever said that about a Speed Champion set. The thing that impressed me the most was how the designers got the rear of the car looking almost perfect, if not perfect. This is by far my favorite Speed Champions car set to date. Previously, my favorite was the Ferrari Tributo, but the Countach is too iconic and the build is too perfect. Please let me know in the comments section what you thought of this build. Does this motivate you to go out and buy this set? What do you think about the 2022 Speed Champions lineup? I would really like to know. Anyways, this is Bruce and Studs, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and as usual, I will see you all in the next build.